pembicara lainnya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dan juga saudara-saudara mahasiswa di LIDS dan di to be here for the second time. Thank you very much for to PPI LIDS. I'd like to start with these figures. We transform already from low political competition to high political competition. But our institutional capacity is still very low. So the characteristic of this situation, high dispersion of political power. So it's not in one hand like under Suharto era. The government is quite ineffective. If you look at to the index of government effectiveness published by the World Bank, our index is minus. The best is Singapore, and still high corruption, high degree of local autonomy without any elements to make higher competition among local government. So our obligation is to transform one more time from this to this. So we would like to have government with the characteristic of government effectiveness, low corruption, high degree of local autonomy, and competition. So autonomy with competition, and rules of law and rules of the game. So we don't want to move back to low political competition. Should be still high political competition, but with high institutional capacity. Pak Umar said also the importance of us to strengthen institutions. Let me move to ASEAN. ASEAN is one of many preferential trading arrangements. Why so many PTA in the world? Because ineffectiveness of multilateralism, stuck of negotiation under WTO. So more and more initiative in the region. See notification to WTO is very high from time to time, and you see here almost all regions have many different kind of regional cooperation, but ASEAN is the most attractive one. Not like you see here like CAREC or SARS cooperation among the poor. No one would like to cooperate with them. So they just cooperate among them. But ASEAN, CAPEC consists of Russia, Canada, United States, and so on and so forth. ASEM, European Union, has also a regular meeting with ASEAN. Almost all, including India, Australia, New Zealand, and so on and so forth. Except, not all ASEAN countries involved in this cooperation. Myanmar, Laos, and Cambodia exclude ASEAN, the most dynamic one. ASEAN 5 plus Brunei and Vietnam. So you can see that ASEAN is very attractive, the most attractive one in the world. The history is very unique. Signed by Foreign Minister of Foreign Affairs, Tanat Koman, Raja Ratna, Adam Malik, I forgot from Philippines, not Romulo, and Tun Razak. So if you look at the declaration, accelerate the economic growth, social progress, cultural development in the region through joint endeavors. And if you look at the time established at the height of Vietnam War, and we just end confrontation with Malaysia. So ASEAN is very political, heavy politics in motives. To block, the penetration of communism from Indochina. But they package ASEAN as economic cooperation. That's the beauty one. It's the unique one in our history, ASEAN history. So we didn't follow integration approach. We follow cooperation. We didn't follow instruments to integrate ourselves. So we have to understand this one. So I agree with Faisal, no need for ASEAN to have single currency, single monetary and fiscal policies. We are very different. Not like ASEAN community, European community. And as stated by Pak Dubes also, characteristics of ASEAN, the region fully integrated into the global economy. So not integrate ASEAN, but we are ready to integrate ASEAN to global economy. Not ASEAN to be integrated. Secondly, single market and production base. This production base is very important. So we invite other countries to invest in ASEAN because we have larger economies of scale. And thirdly, competitive economic region. So we are ready to compete with other regions. So much different compared to European Union. This is the proof. We are already free from 2002. ASEAN Free Trade Area almost finished everything except the very strategic factors in 2002. But you see, the portion of intra-industry trade in ASEAN stagnant. Only 1/4 of our total trade within ASEAN. It's very small compared to, let's say, EU. More than 2/3 trade among European countries and North American Free Trade Area, more than 50%. And this number doesn't change from 24 to 24.3, just changed up and reached to 24.2 on, not increase. So what is the purpose of ASEAN actually? What is the purpose of ASEAN Economic Community? You can see that as has been stated by Pak Umar also, we trade with others. China is the most important partner for ASEAN. Second one is EU, Japan, US, and so on and so forth. Among ASEAN is only 600 billion US dollars. And one other important characteristic is trade with Asia. It's been increasing very significantly. No improvement within ASEAN, but ASEAN trade with Asia increased very sharply. So ASEANizations of our trade ASEAN. So less important to United States and Europe. So geographical proximity works. Why in the past the situation is different? Because we don't have relation with China. After normalization with China, everything back to the theory of gravity. See, almost all except Laos and Myanmar put ASEAN the first. But these two countries' trade is very small. ASEAN now is number 4 for largest economy based on purchasing power parity. Bigger than Japan. You can imagine how attractive ASEAN is now. Again, based on purchasing power parity. Indonesia is the biggest one. Thailand sector is less than half Indonesia. So as stated by Pak Umar also, in ASEAN is Indonesia, you know. And IMF put ASEAN as the group, ASEAN 5, in the World Economic Outlook published 2 times a year. So it indicates that ASEAN is getting more and more important to the world economy, contribute quite significantly to world growth. This shows us that ASEAN works. Invite more and more foreign investors from outside ASEAN. In 2000, FDI to ASEAN from outside ASEAN is 21 billion. Now is 88 billion. Almost four times bigger. This is the investment by Japanese manufacturer operating overseas, put almost 4 ASEAN countries every year. Indonesia is number 2 now. Thailand, Vietnam, and Myanmar. So, 4 out of 10 most promising countries are ASEAN. ASEAN also contribute 2 countries in biggest 20 country as the recipients of FDI in the world in 2013, and contribute 5 countries for 2014 to 2016. You can see ASEAN is very dominant, very significant recipient for FDI. In Asia, ASEAN rupiah, but local orange from Medan 47,000. Nationalism is too expensive to buy our local orange. Too expensive. Nationalism, real nationalism is how to make our product competitive. How to make the price of Medan orange can be competitive with imported orange. currently, the cost of transporting goods for export is very expensive. Number 3, Indonesia, number 3 in terms of cost of exporting a product here. Number 1 is Cambodia, number 2 is Brunei, number 3 is Indonesia. Very expensive to export, but very cheap to import. Number 3, Indonesia, the lowest, number 3 in cost of importing product. See, very difficult to export, very easy to import. How to do this? Why this kind of thing happen? Because transporting jeruk Medan to Jakarta is like this. Using trucks, the capacity is only 8 tons per trucks. Very, very complicated. Traffic jam, long queuing in Merak and Bakauheni, and finally sampai Jakarta separuh jeruknya sudah bonyok. Tidak ada pendingin, tidak ada fasilitas pengatur suhu. Barang-barang import dikirim pakai ini 20.000 ton, ongkos per kilogram almost zero. That's why we have to back to our jati diri as negara maritim. Integrate thousands of islands to unite Indonesia. And the price of cement in Papua, that's why 20 times than Jakarta. If our Papua, I would like to be independent from Indonesia. If I were Papua.
Serang orang Jawa.
And potensi kekayaan laut, I put it from Pak Daud Yusuf. A lot of things in our sea, oxygen, chromium, lithium, iodium, titanium. And that's why maybe Ministry of SDM under coordinating Minister of Maritime. The view is for the future. So under Pak Indaryono. In the sea line of communication. So the functions of the sea is not just transporting, but security and so on and so forth. A democratic power is never likely to perish for lack of strength or of its resources, but it may very well fall because of the misdirection of its strength and abuse of its resources. So we have to remember to fulfill a message that we have to utilize our strength properly. We have to use our resources properly, otherwise we will be the loser of or the case of resource goods. This is just to add that the importance of sea of Indonesia. We made also for Coast Guard to unite, the authority managing our sea. If we now the condition is like this, Pak Bambang Santono, of course, have a lot of information about this. We want to expand our capacity to make the price of the logistic in Indonesia is bigger. We started to expand Tanjung Priok now. Hopefully, Kalibaruan will finish this year or early next year. It had the capacity to by 1.5 million ton. The Kalibaru one, we will have 4 new terminal, container terminal in Kalibaru, and we hope that money raised from this project can be used to build or to expand port in more remote area. So in the past, for the next 10 years, we hope cost to Sorong can be reduced from 2,000 to only 375, and at that time our economic distance between among islands will be very low, and it will unite Indonesia economically. And of course, no more MP3A. Misguided concept, just to accommodate jembatan Selat Sunda created by Tommy Winata. No more. Thank you very much.